Okay, let's talk. We talked about the three breakdown of different ethical systems. Let's talk more specifically about deontological ethics. It's the rule determines the result, not vice versa. We're not doing something because we already think we know the result. It's the rule determines. So you did it, it was the right thing to do, and who cares about the consequences? That is beside the point. That's what the deontologicalist says. I don't care what the outcome is. I'm going to do, I mentioned the lion's den thing earlier. Those of you familiar with the ancient biblical story of a guy named Daniel, he said, they made a law up, you can't pray. He says, basically, in a nutshell, okay, or we're going to throw you in the lion's den. This is kind of the thing. Okay, so he goes right out and does what he always does and opens his windows and prays. And guys were trying to get him. They were just after him, trying to get him. And they said, okay. He says, throw him to the lion's den. Okay?
And the king liked him.
And the king didn't even realize this was going to happen. He was distraught about it. But this thing happened, and he said, I'm going to do, regardless of the outcome, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. So he was thinking deontologically there, so to speak. Daniel was kind of thinking deontologically. Oh, well, if I end up dead, I end up dead, but I'm not going to do what you're telling me to do. So there's just kind of an example. The rule is the basis of the act. Okay? The rule is good regardless of the result. You did the right thing because it was the right thing to do. Oh, never mind that 20 people died because of your bad decision or your quote good decision. It was the right thing to do with that. See what I mean? Okay, it was the right thing to do. Whatever. All right. So this is one of those things. And the result is always. Now here's where it gets tricky. The result's always calculated within the rules. The result's always calculated within the rules. Nobody can always know everything about the future. I'll just make that statement. You can't know everything about if you make a rule up, sometimes there are those scenarios that you didn't think about, right? And that's when people end up amending rules or making exception clauses or, a lot of times you can figure out what has happened at a place by looking at their bylaws or their rules. You can figure out, you're not allowed to park at, such and such a place after whatever time. Sometimes it's because of things that it's reactionary. Things have happened, and so they make a law up or a rule up because they're trying to fix a problem they've seen before when they didn't have a rule about it. So sometimes you can tell what's going on in maybe a company. You look at their rules, they have some weird, silly rules. You go, what? Well, so-and-so did this back 20 years ago, and now they made a rule so that this abuse didn't happen again. Whatever. All right, but that's what we're talking about when the results calculated within the rules. The rules, obviously, the rules should be thinking in general about an outcome of any particular action, right? Can you think of a rule that should always, a law or a rule that should always be followed for all space and time, regardless of circumstances? Is there something that's simply always wrong to do? I know you're not going to come up with it. No? What's that?
I've been stuck on that, molesting a child.
Yeah, and that's one I typically, because that one gets at people. That one gets at people. The murder thing is a little bit more removed. It's sort of like, you can, because murder ends up being classified in different ways. In the heat of the moment, I could tell a personal family story of a murder. I had a cousin that was killed while I was deployed here in town, and it was really sad. And there was a fight, and I won't go into all the details of what it was over, but basically, the guy went, got a gun, came back, and so it was, and he got more time. The guy ended up finally, after, it took like a year, 2 years on, I think it was like 2 years for prosecuting finally. And he got more time for being a felon, having a weapon, than he did for actually murdering my cousin.
Why?
Just the way they did it. I asked the same question. How can you give someone more prison time for having a weapon just because you're a felon? And obviously that's a no-no. That's a major illegal thing to do. But how can you give them more prison time than for actually murdering somebody? I don't know.
Why didn't they consider, like,